You'll never believe this, but I'm Agent Random. Neo The World Ends With You did the impossible and proved itself to actually exist, but come on, that's not enough. So here's a fun thing to think about. What if we got a final remix version of Neo? You know, in 2032 with 28K resolution. What sort of additional content and features would I want to see in this hypothetical game? So here's my wish list, organized in a sort of vague order of easiest to add to most likely to require a summoning circle to bring into existence. Let's start with a pretty simple one. I just want them to add more music to the soundtrack. Final Remix contained about 5 albums in its soundtrack, totaling out to over 100 songs. And that's even if you don't count the remasters of older songs that they added. So add a couple new songs and throw in some new Neo mixes in there too. If I had to suggest some, I'd like Neo mixes of Long Dream, Game Over, Tatakai, and the final boss theme from A New Day, mostly so that one can get an official name. And I freaking swear Deja Vu. And there's nothing to stop them from remixing Neo tracks either. A new version of Breaking Free or Unconscious would be great. Also, Neo brought back a small number of more instrumental tracks from the original game. But outside of the original Twister, none of the original tracks are purchasable in the game as a CD. Was I planning on jamming out to my favorite song Despair while I'm in the menu equipping everyone in my party with a maid costume? Probably not, but I'd appreciate the option. And while they're at it, I like it if there is an option to enable the final remix versions of the songs that had it. Next up, just like the original final remix, I want to see new pins and items added. But this time I think that they should also add new threads. In particular, I want them to bring back how the original game let you buy clothing items that the cast wore. Neo already kinda has this with Shoka's hoodie and every piece of Neku's outfit from the original game, but I want to see them go the extra mile and do it for the whole cast. Specifically, I want Rindo's mask, Fret's vest, Nagi's shirt, Sho's coat, which is actually by Black Honey Chili Cookie, so I'm kinda surprised that it wasn't in the game already, Beats Beats, Fuya's sweater, Matoi's laptop, Kanon's jeans, Suzukichi's shirt, Tsugumi's uniform, Karya's leather jacket, Uzuki's suit, Koko's dress, Shiba's necklace, Kubo's suit jacket, Kaie's phone case, Ayano's blouse, Hishima's glove, and Haz's jacket. Oh, and as for new pins, I don't really have too much in mind, except that I'd super like to see some pins based off of Kingdom Hearts. Okay, how about instead of getting new garbage, we got old garbage? For the most part, Neo opted to use totally new brands for its clothes and pins. And even the returning brands didn't stock any of the same pins that they did in the first game. A fun bit of fan service that I like to see are what I'm gonna call vintage items. Basically just iconic pins and threads from the first game. And I'd also want to see them branded as they were in that game. So for example, say that they added Red Skull and it was still branded as Gatito. Of course, this pin still does nothing but slow your movement, but it would still be fun. Actually, imagine if it changed the model of whoever wore it to have red eyes. That would be awesome. Anyway, I'm not too picky about what gets brought back. Like, just do Lightning Rook and Rhyme for the memes, some live remix pins to make fun of us, maybe even resurrect a pin set like the Darklit Planets. They clearly haven't forgotten about them since they still put in references to them in Neo, like this Black Saturn graffiti here in Dogensaka. Next up, I want characters to wear the threads that I give them in battle. That's it. I really don't think I'm asking for the world here. This totally could have been done given the time. Sometimes I even see art on Twitter of people drawing characters with what they're wearing in their game, and it looks like it'd be really fun. In fact, the game itself already has its feature programmed in. You know how Monaco has a face mask? You know how Rindo already has a model in the game where he wears a face mask? Well, stop thinking about that, because if you equip the mask on Beat, he'll wear it into battle. They put this model in the game just for this. Now just do this like 2,000 more times and we're all set. In fact, even the old World Ends With You manga gave us a taste of what this would be like, with Neku wearing a ridiculous mishmash of clothes. Come on, when the manga's got you beat, you know you've got a problem. Now Shibuya's pretty big and sometimes it can be a little bothersome to run from one end of it to another. And on the Switch, the load times are a little longer than I'd like. Easy way to fix this? Add on fast travel. It could even easily fit in as an additional part of Shoka's telewarp. I get that a lot of areas are locked off on any particular day, but just allow us to warp to locations that we can access and we're all good. I guess there are a lot of cutscenes and stuff that trigger on your way to certain places, but I still think that it could work. Or at the bare minimum, just make this an another day exclusive feature, since that's generally the day most people use to free roam the map anyway. Moving on, it was really great to see Eiji Oji and Ken Doi return from the first game, but man, it would have been super cool to see more. Specifically, Honestly, I don't care whose soul I need to sell. Let me have Makoto back, give me my boy. But I'd also like to see other characters. I'm a little shocked that we never saw Eri, since she has to be an essential part of Gato Nero, right? Also, at the end of the anime, they revealed that Death March is actually revived, and I hear there's even a thought-fragmented Neo that mentions that they made a new album. So I'd love to see them cameo too. And maybe even Reaper Futoshi from the anime alongside them. But the golden pick has to be Nao and Soda. They were also shown to be alive at the end of the anime, and come on, I just want to see them be happy. Just let them be in a couple of RG side quests. Alright, I imagine this next one wasn't in the game due to hardware limitations on the Switch, but I don't care. I'm gonna whine about it anyway. I wish your party followed you around in the overworld. Like, sometimes it just felt weird to have Rindo running around by himself when the DS game always had your partner follow you around. I get that is a very different situation, but still. Bonus/alternate wish is for you to be able to change what character you control in the overworld. That would especially help the events in the game like Week 2 Day 5 where Rindo is locked in a room and the rest of the party has to go around Shibuya playing I Spy. I would appreciate it if that whole part of the game wasn't just one long cutscene and I could actually run around as Fred or something. Next up, Fear. The original Final Remix's main addition was a new story scenario called A New Day. This took place after the main story and bridged the gap between it and Neo. The problem was that Neo didn't get announced for another 2 years, and we all had already been sequel baited a good few times before, so nobody took this as confirmation that a new game was actually coming this time. But now the community is at a much different state. I'm sure if this happened now, we'd all totally realize that a new game was gonna happen soon. So add a new scenario to Neo where Matt Matsune jumps out of a manhole and freaking shoots Rindo dead. Or as for some good ideas, how about a story focusing on Angel shenanigans? We could see more of Haz and Joshua and maybe actually finally see Hanekoma in this game. Actually, maybe even focus it on Hanekoma and explore his Fallen Angel storyline. It got teased so heavily in the first game and then just actually not brought up once in the second. I'm not salty, you're salty. And while we're there, can we take some time to explain all the unexplained garbage from Neo? Who exactly gave Rindo replay? Was it Joshua or Kubo? Cause I could honestly see it going either way. How did Coco get her ridiculously OP abilities? The most logical answer there is Kubo, and even that feels like we're missing some major pieces of the puzzle. So all in all, I just need more lore to keep me satiated. And a bonus episode added to the end that sets up a future game would be amazing to see. Oh, and wherever the story takes us, I want us to visit Mark City and or the Shibuya River, including the Dead Gods Pad and the Room of Reckoning. Thank you. But if we do get a new scenario, I think it would be the coolest thing if we got more playable characters. Specifically, I want to see one of my angel boys. Joshua, Haz, or Hanekoma. I'm not picky. Just give me one of them. Or additionally, finally do Rhyme justice and to make her playable. That would be pretty cool. Bonus points if they gave them new latent or special abilities. Within the lore, any of the angels would have latent abilities since that power is from the higher plane. And Rhyme's ability could just be a special ability, not necessarily latent, like how Rindo does imprinting and Shoka does telewarping. What abilities do I want to see? Joshua can cause mental strain on a person, Rhyme can hack people's phones and read their search history, Haz can show up for more than 2 scenes, and Hanekoma like Pirates movies or something. Yes, these are exactly the abilities that I want, and I will be disappointed should we have anything less. With all these new characters, I would also like to see a proper party select menu. In fact, even if we don't get more characters, I still want that because having to go to another day, skip past this long cutscene, start walking to 10-4, get jumped by this Reaper, turn around and talk to Hishima, and then talk to him again every time I want to add Nagi back to my party is a little tedious. Additionally, please program the system a little better, because as it is now, the swapped party members swap any threads and pins that they have equipped. I can get pins since outside of mutations, there aren't a lot of reasons to use a pin with a certain character, but threads very much do depend on the character. So just let any given character keep their threads equipped even when they're not in your party. Like imagine if in the first game you had a designated set of clothes for your partner that just sort of rotated between the 3 as you swapped between them. That would be kinda stupid, and that's kinda Neo. Okay, Neo is a very good looking game, artistically speaking. Graphically, I won't lie, it's pretty weak. Is that a problem? Well, no, but in this hypothetical port, we're assuming that it's being designed for more powerful hardware. I'm not saying that we need a total overworld overhaul with a fully controllable camera and the whole 9 yards, even though I really like that, but rather I just want the textures and models to get makeovers. Like, you ever look at these models up close? I don't think that I'm wrong to say that this could use some touching up. Just make this game look a little bit more like it's from this generation and we're all good. I mean, just look at other Switch games. Plenty of them manage to pull off some pretty impressive okay, maybe Neo's fine, actually. Alright, weird thing that bothers me. So Hanekoma and Wildcat aren't around in the main story due to plot. But that makes me question why Hanekoma also isn't in Another Day and why Wildcat is still branded as Mystery Circle. Obviously, it's that way because Another Day was a last-minute addition and they didn't have time to implement a new character, but within the lore, it would make more sense if he was there, yeah? Throw my boy into this day. Okay, before we get to the last one, here's a bunch of little things that I would love if they added. A real cutscene skip. While I'm happy that they added a skip to the game, it only speeds through the dialogue, which is still a little annoying and time-consuming in any of the longer cutscenes. So let us just hold the skip button for like 3 seconds and have that bypass the whole scene. Add Tinpin back because it would be funny. How would it work? I don't know, figure it out. Change Fret's Remind puzzle to either lock into place faster or stay locked when you move the stick into the right place. While I never had any issues myself, I know that many others really struggled with these puzzles, so it might be best to tweak them a bit. Change the requirements for secret reports 3, 4, and 6 to not be dependent on social network completion, because I can't help but feel like that was a major oversight. Since these reports are unlocked just by doing side quests and shopping at shops, you can totally get all 3 of these before you beat the game. And it's not even something that you really have to go out of your way to do. I know plenty of people that got these by pure accident just because they like to do as much optional content as is available. And unlocking these reports early can really spoil some stuff for you. I am excluding Secret Report 10 from this because that's unlocked through 100% social network completion and that requires doing the dive mission in Another Day. However, I do think that that report should probably swap requirements with one of the final reports since it would just make sense for one of the hardest tasks to unlock one of the final reports. But why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Put the other unlocks behind additional bossy noise. There's a significant amount of main story bosses and enemies that cannot be encountered by scanning. This means that you can't easily increase your drop rate for them by chaining battles. For some enemies, it's tolerable, but the notable problem children are Mr. Mew's second fight and the Plague Wolves. These are only encountered in the story and have freakishly low ultimate drop rates. Like, I'm cool with rare drops, but these are just ridiculous. Alright, time for the big one. I already said that I wanted in A New Day-like side story that focused on the future of the series. But why focus on the future when there's still so much that we haven't explored in the past? I'm talking Shinjuku. There's a whole story here that we've yet to explore. I know plenty of people want this to be its own game, but I'd rather we not do a Shinjuku-style Reapers game twice in a row. I think that this would work much better as a side story. Think about the possibilities. Tsugumi could finally get the female lead role that she was flipping created for. We could learn how she's friends with Coco. Matt could get a name that's inherently worse than Matt Matsune. We could meet other fun characters that will all inevitably die because prequels be like that. Neku could even show up since he was sent to Shinjuku just before it was inverted. In fact, we can even see Coco and him begin to get along. Oh, and since it's right after A New Day, he'd still be a little on the angsty side. I also don't see a reason why Sho couldn't show up. We could even get more hoodieless Shoka in our lives.
Kubo can finally get a boss fight!
Man, we just need this to happen. We know so much and yet so little about what actually happened over there. And I think that's about it. What do you all think? Any more content that you want added to this game in the future? You may as well speak up now before this game actually gets announced. That way we can be the first people on the internet to talk about it. We'll be ahead of everyone. I mean, it's not like there's anything more topical happening right now with Neo. Wait, why is the screen shaking? Okay, fine. I think I have another video to make.